Hello, Chicks and Ghouls. Today we're doing something different. Every year I'm running a 100 book challenge for Goodreads, and it's May, and I'm still at 17 books, which puts me way behind schedule. And the reason I do a 100 book challenge is because I assume I'll read 50 fiction books and 50 graphic novels. And while my fiction book reading is going well, I'm at 14 books I think. I've only read 3 graphic novels, so I think it's time to even the score. So as you can see, I got a lot of graphic novels. I have my day off today and nothing important to do because lockdown. So I grabbed myself a cup of coffee, or 5 or 6, I don't know. A bunch of comic books I have not yet read, and I'm about to read them and do a reading vlog of them, using my trusty mobile phone for this one, so there is a good chance that the sound will not be perfect. It's not like my PC setup with the mic and all, even though I can get the microphone here, come to think of it. Whatever. And yeah, I'll try to fix it in post, but the sound may be off and the camera will definitely be different. I'm on my couch to do a couch video, not this kind of couch video, you perverts. And without further ado, let's get going. What should I start with? You know what? I'm starting with Corto Maltese, the Ballad of the Salt Sea. It's 4 albums. I've got them in Greek, but I believe they're available in English too. I'll try to leave links for the version. It's 46 pages each, costing about $6 each. So yeah, it's alright, and it's by Hugo Pratt. He's an Italian cartoonist, and Corto Maltese is a big deal in European comics. I have not read a lot of Corto Maltese. I was working with an artist who were trying to do a comic together. It's kind of in limbo right now for different reasons, because she has a lot of obligations at the moment. We're just talking about it. And she was a big fan of Corto Maltese, so I got myself a lot of albums. They were available quite affordably, and I'm trying to go through them. I've read other 3 albums. One was Way Off, another was Equatoria, was not done by Hugo Pratt, but I have read Venetian Fable by Hugo Pratt, and it was just amazing. So I hope that Ballad of the Salt Sea will be as amazing as it was, and even better, because I keep hearing that it's great. So let's go through this. Alright, album 1 is read and was quite interesting. It is set in 1913, so we're just before World War I believe. We're in the Pacific, and it's about pirates. We've got Captain Rasputin, who salvages 2 Australian rich kids, Pandora and Kane. I know names, I know it's weird names, whatever. And also he manages to salvage Corto Maltese, whose ship has been taken over by an insurrection. He was left tied on a raft, and he's a pirate too, and they work for a mysterious person called the Monk, and they're trying to Rasputin wants to ransom the 2 rich castaways, and Corto plays along. They take over that ship that carries coal, and they sell it to the Germans. Rasputin is also privateered by the Germans in order to fight the Allies in the upcoming World War I. And Corto is a bit, he's put off by Rasputin's brutality, since when he took over that ship, he killed all the crew. And so while Rasputin is talking with the Germans, Corto is supposed to take the to castaways, the rich castaways, and keep them hidden because the Germans will probably take them from the pirates. And his ship sinks in a typhoon, and he and the castaways end up imprisoned by a local tribe, and it's kind of interesting. Up to this point, it's a 1970s comic book, so yes, there is some adventure comic from them. There is a bit of well, it kind of feels unliquidated in our days. With this, got some colonial stuff, some elements of colonialism. The Maori are drawn with exaggerated characteristics, which made some people laugh, but they're realized characters too. The natives in the Pacific are treated as characters, not just as caricatures, which is great. And off we go for the second part. Alright, book 2 is done. It's getting really interesting. I won't go much into the plot, but I like the tension that exists between the cast of the characters because they have cross purposes and they have to work together as well, work as one against each other. I really like the characters in this one. They are really, they feel alive. They create this immersion for me, and I like that World War I actually starts at this volume, and there's a lot of plotting about what the pirates will do, align themselves with the Germans against the Entente, the Allies. And we get to the island of the Monk, the leader of the pirates in the Pacific Ocean, in Melanesia. And we get a lot of things, and yeah, I really like this comic book. It's really good. It's a really good adventure comic. I like the character and where the plot is going. It's very character driven. There are some action sequences here and there. There's a lot of conspiracies, of alliances being made and broken. It's really good. And now let's go to the third album. And yeah, I'm not feeling myself renegade. I want to read this in comfort. So yeah, I'm cutting the places where I'm reading the comic book, and yeah, you won't get highlights of me reacting to it because I want to save some memory space on my mobile phone. Alright, part 3 is over, I'm about to go to part 4. And I'm really impressed by how good this is. Give me a second because I do believe I'm straighter now. So I have to say some things about the Ballad of the Salt Sea by Hugo Pratt, because I read one of the introductions in those albums that talks about the history of it. It was first created in 1967, and it was the first appearance of Corto Maltese. He was not supposed to be the main character of the story. That's why it was kind of odd reading it, because there were many characters and many were realized characters, and Corto Maltese was very anti-heroic. He was in a very grey morality, but he was sort of a breakout character, I guess. In the third part, he barely appears for reasons. Hugo Pratt was Italian. He started working in comics in Argentina. He was doing war comics back then, and then he returned to Italy, where comics were not a thing. So I guess in a way he created the Italian comic book scene, which is a huge industry. I think it's the second biggest comic book country after France and Belgium. The main comics in Europe are the Franco-Belgian and the Italian ones. He started a new magazine there where the Battle of the Salt Sea was created and was published month by month. And that's one great graphic novel, almost 180 pages long, I guess, a little less than 200 pages long, and really good. The characters are very interesting, they feel very alive. There's a lot of intrigue and a lot of the stuff is happening organically because of the characters' cross purposes. Um, I mentioned about part one that some people may find annoying how exaggerated the characteristics of the native people are, but it's Hugo Pratt's art style. There are some German or British characters in these comic books, and especially I saw one of the British characters. Um, you find it here. This guy over here who looks very exaggeratedly British, and there are some Japanese characters too who also look very exaggerated, and the German slaughter is also very Teutonic, so that's his art style, I guess. And okay, I just assumed that he did not do that because Corto Maltese is a Mediterranean character who is also very stylized with cheekbones. But it feels very good, and I'm going for part four, the final part. It was quite good. New cup of coffee, part four, and I'll be back with review for the entire comic book. Alright, Hugo Pratt's Ballad of the Salt Sea. Definitely recommend, great graphic novel. There should edit in a picture of the English version right now and leave a link below because it's definitely recommend. Really great writing, great characters that drive the plot, lots of twists and turns happening. It's got a very satisfying edit. It's definitely a 5-star read, quite good. Definitely recommend. The art style is very interesting. It's quite simple, but very evocative and really good. It's nothing splashy like in American superhero comics. It's much more realistic, proportional, and very well done. It really tells the story quite well, and yeah, definitely a great read. It took me 2 hours to finish the comic book along with this commentary, and we'll go for something much more simple right now. We'll go for the Spectre, Tales of the Unexpected by David Lapham, Eric Battle, Brent Rollins and Tom Mandrake. Don't know who does what. I think that's a DC mini-series of sorts. David Lapham is the writer, and Eric Battle with Tom Mandrake are the pencilers. He is the Spectre in Gotham City. I'm not sure about it. I got it off a bargain bin some years ago, and I have yet to read it. So yes, I'm reading it, and I don't know, maybe. All right, we're going there right now. I don't think it will match Ballad of the Salt Sea, but if it does, it will be a pleasant surprise. So here we go. Alright, that's something bad. That's a series called Tales of the Unexpected, and collects issues 4 to 8. So we're jumping straight into the story, missing 3 parts. It's about the Spectre, which is some sort of an angel of vengeance in the DC universe. I'm not quite sure about how it really works. It used to be connected with This Detective, Jim Corrigan, the original run. Then it combined with Hal Jordan, the second Green Lantern, who was, not second, the Silver Age Green Lantern, actually who fell. He went evil. He was possessed by an entity called, I think, Parallax in the event Zero Hour, and then they were combined, and then Jordan became the Green Lantern again. So Spectre left, and he bonded to a detective called Crispus Allen, who was fatally shot by a crook cop called Jim Corrigan. That has nothing to do with the original Jim Corrigan. Yes, and they bond because the Allen's killer killed his family. Well, it's very confusing. The synopsis of the very first issues is very confusing. Uh, I don't think that's in 52. I think that's just like before New 42. Yes, it was first published in 2007, so it's after Final Crisis, I guess, or after Infinite Crisis. I'm not sure. DC comics chronology can get very complicated because of the constant universe or multiverse-wide reboots with the crisis events, and I'm not sure where we are, and I'm not making an effort, I'm just reading it and hope that I will understand what's happening in this one. Alright, I'm 3 issues in on Spectre, Tales of the Unexpected, and I'm not quite thrilled by what I'm reading. Uh, it feels like a horror Tales from the Crypt type of supernatural story. Week 7, we have this dead detective who's a ghost, and he's wandering through crime scenes, and he enlists the Spectre, and it goes all 7 on different criminals. And this book is quite a product of its time, the late zeros, and I feel old just saying that late zeros were another time that's way behind us. I don't find anything particularly interesting in this one. There is some good gore, and there is a plot about a murder that happened in a building where somebody killed the landlord, and there's a mystery about who did it, but it began in earlier issues, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with this one. And then you have Spectre going around and killing people. On the first issue of this one, issue 4, he goes after some bank robbers, and Batman appears and tries to warn the Spectre away. Then we have in issue 5, patient going through an experimental treatment, going maniac. He puts on a dress and kills people in a bank. Again, it's a product of its time. Then on the other story, we have a clown who abducts a girl, and dude was seriously abused by his mother. And then and also a Phantom Stranger appears to talk to the detective. What's the name? Sirius Allen or some Crispus Allen, who's a black man, to hold the reins of the Spectre, and yeah, it's not great. It's too much edginess. It tries to evoke the tales from the Crypt or early Spawn, not early Spawn, later 2-digit Spawn issues like in issue 60 to 90, which was about some gritty urban revenge stories and horror stories. I'm not enthused about this one. I mean, I'm reading it and it's going to be on hold. Not impressed, but I still have 2 more issues to read. Yeah, there's a lot of gore in this one. There are disfigured ghouls cutting a man apart, and eyeballs sticking out and broken faces. Yeah, the girl how really appreciates this comic book for this thing alone. Um, and I don't think there is an 80 plus warning on this one for some reason. I guess as long as there is no nipple in there, it's fun for all the family. Alright, the last two chapters finish the entire series. I think it's 8 issues long, and they wrap up the arc of the slumlord murder. That is sort of story containing these parts. I did not enjoy um, the Spectre Tales of the Unexpected because the main character was a fandom going around the crime scenes and having monologues, not interacting with other characters. The whole people punished that they were not well developed. I didn't start with the beginning story, so I've missed some parts of it. So yes, that's an issue. If you like gory horror comics of this style with edgy urban horror and some gore in there, yeah, you might enjoy this one. You might want to consider this run of the Spectre, but assuming you start from the beginning, which I did not. But I was not impressed, and this is going to be on hold. Now, what's next? I think the Having Lands is next, but I've got some more stuff here. I think I'll go for a Darth Vader comic book. It's a Dark Horse comic, that's a translated edition.